As you referred to before, The Champ is your highest grossing motion picture, correct?
$120 million is gross, yes. No, I think Jesus is more than that. The Jesus program is
Yes.
300 million.
Feature film release, The Champ, and yet it was not well received in this country by the critics.
No.
Do you consider popular acclaim to be a more valid measure of the success of your work than critical reaction?
Well, it's a sad choice.
Mm-hmm.
It's a tragic choice. Not tragic for me, but tragic for them, for the critics, because their position is really apart from the feeling of let's call the masses. And also it's an insult to the spectators, because there is no such a thing as the masses today. Everybody is well informed through television, through papers. They all know. They all know what's right or wrong, what's beautiful or ugly. I mean, they're not like brute masses of 50 years ago. Mm-hmm. They were really, I mean, like cattle, and they just anything that moved on the screen was exciting. Now they know they can understand and analyze and criticize in their own right. So the fact that there is a critical opinion and a public opinion is a horrible reality we have to face. And when your dilemma is whether to please one or the other, my duty is to please as many brothers and sisters I have in the world as I can, because it's the purpose of my profession is to communicate and not to preach with the converted people who already know everything, all the answers, that elite that decide, and they are so devious because they look what they did with so many artists. They hail them today and they dump them tomorrow. Look what they did to Berliner Müller. Mm-hmm. I mean, overnight, she was there at the top. The New York Magazine, the cover was the greatest cinematic talent since Berman. And the picture of this woman cover New York Magazine to tell you how serious that magazine is. And 3 months later, they dumped her. Forgotten. She doesn't exist anymore. She can't find one penny to make movies. So.
Can we talk a bit about your film?
Or The Man of Manhattan, what's his name? You're a great comedian here.
Woody Allen.
Woody Allen, again, hailed, and they dumped him. So you mustn't trust them. The audience you can trust, because as long as you're going to give something in which they identify and you're honest to them, they will follow you, your lifetime and after.
Can we talk a bit about your film background? I understand that your first experience as a filmmaker was working as an assistant with Luciano Visconti.
Yeah, I did in those years, my early years. First of all, as an actor, designer, and then I went to, I did a movie as an actor with Magnani. And then from that I said, no, I want to be assistant director, and I was assistant director to several directors, Visconti, De Sica, Rossellini,
all the Italian neo-realists.
Yeah, all the group. Those were glorious years, you know. 50s and 40s and 50s. And
what was glorious about them?
Well, it was such an explosive enthusiasm. We were discovering things that had been Italy had been repressed for 20 years under Mussolini, and as soon as we got back our freedom, and we had accumulated so much enthusiasm, energies, everything. You just threw a seed in St. Peter's Square tonight, and tomorrow morning will be a little tree coming up. Everything was blooming and booming, and excitement and exchanges, communication was extraordinary. I mean, I really have been very lucky to have my magic years then, in that moment. And then I worked more with Visconti, a lot of work as assistant director. Assistant director in Europe is a different thing than AD here, you know. AD here is a firm profession that you can do the rest of your life. You are an AD forever. In Italy, assistant director is really one step from being a director. You just normally you become a director from having worked first, second, third, second, first assistant director, then you become it. Then I say, well, perhaps I'm ready to do my own picture. That was the French and the Italian, it is, way to become a director.
Is there a director in that group that you might name as an influence?
At that time?
Mm-hmm.
Well, De Sica I loved very much. I loved him. I loved him more than Visconti. He just told us much more. He was dealing with human beings in a more simple, humble, and effective way. But he was Neapolitan. He had that warmth. He was a son of a bitch. I mean, very clever, very shrewd, but warm. You know, warm. There was no great intellectual syndrome in his works. He was going straight to your heart.
Do the critics in Italy ever accuse you of not being an Italian filmmaker because so many of your films are made in English?
All my films are made.
Yes.
I've never done an Italian picture yet.
Well, La Traviata is not quite English.
Well, yes, it's been recorded in America and it doesn't have Italian singers in it.
Oh, that's right.
It's another matter, which is something they're not forgiving. We had these big discussions. Where are the Italian singers that could also act? We lost that too.
Is that why there's been a critical backlash in Italy that you referred to earlier?
The critical backlash there is always on my work, always. They blasted the Jesus, I can't tell you. The program really is one of the best things ever done for television. I know that, and has been very much respected and hailed throughout the world, seen by 700 million people, and respected. In Italy, they hit it.
Why? On what basis?
Because they couldn't accept, first of all, that there was a Christian program, all the left-wingers, because it's the most unchristian country in the world. Second, because I had done it. Whatever I do, it's an upheaval, and an upheaval of the audience, which drives them crazy.
To get back for a moment to your film background, the first film you directed was
Sure.
Sure.
Again,